On May 25, 2020, the candidate of the ruling party, Evariste Ndayishimiye, was declared by the National Independent Electoral Commission, CENI, when the provisional results were announced as the winner of the presidential election with 68.72% of the vote against 24.19% for the Honorable Agathon Rwasa, his main challenger. However, many political party representatives, observers, and witnesses noted numerous irregularities that marred the electoral process, such as the non-publication of voters' lists before the election, the arbitrary arrest of CNL party representatives in the polling stations, the stuffing of ballot boxes, the representatives forced to sign the reports before the counting of the votes, voting on behalf of dead people and refugees, many powers of attorney, voters who voted several times in certain polling stations, exclusion of party representatives and observers during the vote counting, intimidation of and pressure on voters by certain administrative officials who accompanied them to the polling booth, etc. But the most spectacular irregularity was the proclamation and publication of the results on the basis of a draft as indicated by the chairman of the CENI. Internet users had to highlight the publication of perfectly identical scores in 3 electoral constituencies for CENI to withdraw the so-called draft from its website. Following all these irregularities and many others, the president of the CNL filed an appeal before the Constitutional Court, which has the broadest jurisdiction on electoral disputes, all phases of which are subject to verification by the court. The court has jurisdiction especially under Articles 78, 79, and 81 of the Electoral Code to verify the regularity of the ballot, both in terms of its conduct, the counting and compilation of the results. And its decisions range from the simple rectification of material errors to annulment in whole or in part of the elections if it deems that the detected irregularities may have had a decisive influence on the results. All phases of the electoral process are therefore covered. The Mffps and all Burundians expect the court to lay down the law in complete independence. It is hoped that the voice of the population will be the only one to be proclaimed. Pending the responsible decision of the Constitutional Court, the Mffps calls on all the political actors to put aside their personal interests and give priority to the major interests of the nation. Finally, it urges the Burundian population to remain calm, serene, and vigilant and not to give in to any incitement or provocation to violence. This is a message from the Women and Girls Movement for Peace and Security in Burundi.